That was
Hi, friends.
great.
Good evening and welcome to IBM TV Spiritual Saturday. And we have Jim Mate joining us from California, and we have Anandmai Kumar joining us from Delhi, India. Welcome to IBM TV, and good morning to all our friends, and good evening to all our friends in Southern Hemisphere. And we'll start our show with Anandimai today, Soul Smart with Anandimai. So Anandimai, what do you have for us today?
Whatever you want to know.
Whatever you say, coach. We are joining our hands and just waiting for your input so that we can have a good, healthy life and we can follow the footsteps and whatever suggestions you have for us.
So Ankit, what I like about this show is the very beautifully how we share our experiences, and we all get to learn from each other. It's not one person speaking and the other person following. It's just that we all learn from each other so beautifully, and then when we try to follow that in our own lives, it becomes a little better, like every day.
That's really true. And although you always tell us that everyone is equal, but I think I get more out of your contributions to the show than you get out from me.
Yeah, I agree to that, but that is true in your world. You do not know on what level you inspire me.
Yes. Okay.
So if I talk about, I'm not saying that you're old or something like that. It's just that I when I see myself working at your age what you are at now, initially I must have thought ki, okay, after 60 I will retire, or after 50 I will retire, go back and no work and nothing. But when I see you, when I see Shasha, when I see Rakesh, I feel more energized. When I see Kim, and then a lot of people on IBM TV, when I see them, yeah,
I have a problem. They all are young. I mean, why are you talking about them? They all are young.
I, I just said, I did not say, I just said age is a number. So I'm talking about a number. So when I reach that number,
I
now
know.
I see myself working. It's not
Yes.
that that if I say that if I reach 50, I will retire and
But
just
they all
have
are.
a late.
But they all are in late 30s.
I am 18. I thought you were
No, no,
16,
no.
Ankit.
You are 16 basically, but I'm talking about Jim, Sasha, Kim, and Nick. They all are in 30s.
I get younger every day. That's what I'm saying.
But
Yeah,
Ankit,
but
you're telling it. Yeah,
no, I
go
got
ahead.
the point. I got the point. I just wanted to add some humor, basically. But what I understand while talking to a lot of people from different parts of the world is that whatever I'm sharing with them, whatever values or whatever lifestyle we have in India, so they might be young to understand what we have been doing in India from so long period of time. But on the other hand, they have more experience of life and all those things. But their experience is only related to United States of America. They don't know what's happening outside America. So
Yeah.
that's what we are trying to understand. And for that, age never matters basically because they have their own experience. We have our own experiences. But I still believe that people with experiences, we can learn a lot of things from them, and that's what I'm learning with from Jim, Nick, Sasha, and all our panelists around the world.
Yeah,
So
that's very true. And as you said that, I always talk about don't let the child inside you die. So that way, we all are kids. It's just a number which gets added to us every year, which we say happy birthday plus one, happy birthday plus one. So that keeps going. So that's why he said, I am 18. I thought Ankit is 16. That way, it's like there's a kid, or see, when he smiles, he looks like a young teenager.
That's why I'm going to smile more.
Oh yeah, of course.
But
This is one of the
you
trick. You remember I said the pen trick to put the pen inside your mouth when you are sad. That way, yeah. So this is somehow stretching, yeah, stretching your lips and tricking your brain that okay, I'm happy, and then suddenly in that sad moment, good hormones are released, and then you feel energized and happy. So
and
that's why,
you told us a
yeah,
story one time about a teacher telling you never let the child inside you die.
yeah. That was my college principal. Like
Yes.
we always wanted her to speak more. First day at our welcome lecture, she just said this word. welcome and all that, and this one line which I could, which was our takeaway. And on the last day, on the convocation day, she has the same line to say. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, 3 years apart, she just have one line to say to us. But now I realize what does that mean? What she meant at that time.
Yes. Yes. And that is something that I've often been thought of as immature. And it's because I'm intentionally being childlike. And so we teach ourselves not to act that way, to act more grown up. But it's counterproductive when you just can be a grown up, when you can't be a child anymore.
So, Jim, there's a difference between being mature and being, like people say, don't act childish. That does
Right.
not mean, so being mature is a different thing. And what we say that don't let the child inside you die is a different thing. Child
Yes.
is innocent. And the child has that age is something when we start making our own belief systems. We condition ourselves in a way that that is a time when we condition ourselves to grow in a certain way to become a certain individual or grown up man. So when I also now take sessions with clients and people, what happens that all the traumas they come from the childhood. When was your when you felt this fear earlier? The client says, when my mother scolded me when I was 4.
Yes.
So that kid, that 4-year-old needed that healing and not the one who is 24 or 34.
Correct. I
So from there,
understand.
yeah,
And also, from my point of view, I've had to unlearn a lot of my training. Um, and so I say I have to forget in order to remember that
yeah,
childlike quality of just joy and curiosity.
yeah.
Um, and these things you can lose as you grow up and conform to what the society expects of you. So
Very true. Yeah.
to forget in order to remember. And that's one of the things that I tell myself every morning.
And now I learned it from you.
Oh, you're so sweet. That's very kind of you to say. And
So
I
I
will then
really,
share.
I actually learned that. So as I said, no, we all learn from each other on this show or wherever we go. So when you are open and staying in here and now, everything will teach you something. Even if you're changing the bed sheet of your bed, of your bedroom, maybe changing the curtain, it will give you a wisdom. It will give you an awareness. It's just that you have to be present in that here and now.
Yes.
What we do is I am changing the curtain of my house, but my head is in the kitchen on the boiling milk or something else which I kept on the cook on the stove. When I'm in the kitchen, I'm thinking something about my plants or something or the other things.
Yes.
But when you stay in there, like just in here and now, with your breaths, you tend to learn a lot of things, a lot of awareness like flows because universe is always sending a message. It's up to us how grounded we are and how centered we are to catch them up.
And that's a daily process for me.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
I have
It's
to,
for everyone. Yeah.
yes, I have to be conscious of that in order to increase my awareness. Because if I just go about my business, oh, good evening, Rakesh. And I was just going to start on a little monologue, so please interrupt me.
Go ahead. Let me listen to it. I'd love to listen to it.
Okay, I was going to share with you something that Coach Kumar taught me, because I left one of our shows, and I've yet to been on a show that I haven't learned something from someone, and but one of the shows I left very agitated, and I was thinking to myself, well, why am I agitated? And so I thought about the person that was a guest that agitated me, and I thought that was that person's fault. And then I caught myself. I said, no, that person can't make me agitated. I made myself agitated. Now, what was the difference between the Jim that showed up on that show and the Jim that left that show? And that's my responsibility to think about what that was. And what I understood after some thought and after some reflection and some introspection was that I was trying to make myself understood rather than trying to understand the other person. And so my job is to understand and not to make myself understood. And that was something that I gleaned from my conversations with Coach Kumar over the various weeks. And that was so helpful to me because I think I'm a better guest or host when I'm functioning like that, to try to understand the other person than make myself understood.
That's such a beautiful share, Jim. So, and actually, I can feel that energy when you share that. You're talking from your heart. And when we experience all these things in our own lives, and as we spoke earlier and discussed, I guess, that we mirror and we shadow a lot. So if someone's some quality is irritating us or maybe making us frustrated or angry, it means we also have some part of it in some ways.
Yes.
So there was this example. I was going through my one of the processes, and I was doing a shadow work first, and I said, I do not like that girl because she's very dominating and she's very desperate. So, and there are a lot of questions which we ask to ourselves, or maybe the partner coach asks us. And during that swap process, the end line was that she's also fighting to get something very desperately, and I also take desperate measures to keep myself in control. And I was like, oh, that was a slap on my face. I was like, no, I never thought it this way.
Yes.
Why? Like, why? I have done so much of sessions and everything. How can I be dominating? I don't want to be the dominating one. And I was getting irritated from her because she was reflecting some of my qualities. So all of our emotions, and if we feel it for someone else, it's chances are there that it is our mirror or our shadow,
Now,
and we need to clear that in ourselves.
yeah, we see if you spot it, you've got it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I understand the mirror, but what is the shadow?
Shadow is basically a part. So mirroring is like, I'm angry, you are mirroring me.
Okay.
But shadow is, I do not like you for some reason, but I am trying to hide that. I do not want to acknowledge it. It is underlined. It's not very much in on the face.
Right. It's
So
not visible. Right.
yes. So what happens that for you, Jim? So for example, a client comes in and he says, "Hi, Jim." So will you say hi? You will not say that way. You will say, "Hi, how are you doing?" In the same pace. That is mirroring. But
Yes.
if, just as I said, that if I don't like someone some qualities and I do not want to acknowledge it that I also have it, so that is a shadow part which is in the darker side, which we want to avoid. We do not want to acknowledge it, but it is impacting us in some or the other way.
Right. So, Rakesh, why do you think spelling errors irritate you?
It's just it,
Sorry.
it's just something that when we it's something we grew up to. Was when we were in school, if we made a spelling error in English, we lost some marks.
Yeah.
So we because we studied in the Cambridge system, and the teachers were this was 40 years ago, 45, maybe almost 50 years ago. um, Teachers would not give you 100% in English. So if there was 10 marks allocated to a question, the best the best in the class would get 7. So we would struggle for half mark, quarter mark, and things like that. And if somebody made a spelling error, we would look it as the papers are distributed. We would see somebody made a spelling error. So it's a carryover from that. That spelling errors are chi, not good. So so it's pretty much that. And then
Yes.
as I started working, I found that spelling errors in a time where you have spell check, people are working on a computer, is just laziness. So that used to annoy me, because everybody we as a company are trying to achieve excellence, and then if somebody is sort of slipping up, it was something that annoyed me. But now, this was in India when I had not worked in New Zealand. But when I started working in New Zealand and started meeting people whose mother tongue was English, and I found there's so many mistakes. And then I said, I've been I've been hyper about it for so long, but it used to. There's only one person like me whom I've met in my career, and he worked with an English company that I worked with, who, if he got a report with a spelling error, would just circle it in red and send it back with a remark, "Don't waste my time." So that was incredibly. He didn't do too well. He was a senior person, but he didn't do too well in the company as much as he ought to have done, and so that should have been a red light warning to me, but it didn't. Then nowadays, I don't bother so much. It just irritates me. I don't bother so much because I say, as long as the communication, the import of the communication, the meaning of the communication is conveyed, then the purpose has been served. I studied radio communication as in one of my subjects when I studied physics, and there you had the coder, the transmission, and then the receiver. So as long as the transmission and the receiver gets the same meaning as what the coder intended, the job is done. So there may be varying percentages of efficiency, but the job is done. If by and large it's done. So if in a battle, also if you had a radio transmission, and if the submarine found a convoy, then the job is done. So now I'm sort of more or less. I feel that the whole world is pretty much not following my standards. So what's the point in insisting on it?
Right.
Well, I find your standards very important for the sake of documenting, recording, and documenting and recording in consistent, good read. I am a bad speller, horrible grammar, although I was taught to have good grammar. I was taught to speak good grammar, not really to write it, but to be able to speak well. That's kind of gone over the years, but it's very important. And I hope you don't lose that, because we still need people very much like you who don't just, maybe don't let it irritate you, but people who expect those high standards. Because I always tell people, don't lower your standards, just lower your expectations. And when you do that, I always felt like my life was a little bit better when something didn't turn out the way I'd hoped. But if it just turns out, I'm okay, right?
Well, I really want to hear what Coach Kumar has to say, but I have to share this one thing first. The only C I got in school was in grammar, and it was because it didn't seem logical to me. Like, why does the adjective have to come before the noun? Why can't it come after the noun? And when I learned different languages, it actually does. So I really didn't understand. It seemed so arbitrary to me. So I just dismissed it. And then when I was in college and I wrote a paper that I really put a lot of effort into, and the history professor came back and he said, it's a C. And I said, how can this paper be a C? And he said, well, you made these grammatical errors. And so I started to argue, like, well, my ideas are so, important to be considered. And he said, if you make grammatical errors, I won't consider your ideas. And it was a very strong life lesson to me.
I want to add a scientific aspect to this, even though your mindset and voice is being conveyed. But in the mathematic world, if we don't spell something right in the program, it's going to really screw things up. So we really have to be mindful of these things. And it's just that it's not as important to people like you or I. And it maybe that's something I've really focused on in the last week, is correcting my misspellings, making sure that typos don't always go out.
So Rakesh doesn't get mad at you?
No, remember the NASA spacecraft that missed its target because the units were in the wrong system.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
a misspelled word in if you're conveying things in different languages could be interpreted wrong, where you might say the word bear. I mean, how many different ways do you spell bear? B-E-R, B-E-A-R. And so you're spelling something to someone who's reading something 50 years later, and they're going to convey the whole thing wrong and do something wrong compared to looking at history. So we really need to be considerate of this very important tool that we're given, and maybe start using the Saturday school songs that we used to have. Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Right? Because I'm going to tell you what, until I heard those songs, I didn't really care about a conjunction. So maybe we, like Nick says, we have to make it fun, right, Coach Kumar?
Yes.
I
remember
when it has to be play work.
When we traveled as children in by train, I did not travel by plane till I was about probably 17 or something. We would go, some of the stations were junctions, and I asked my mother, I remember, what is the meaning of junction? And she says, this is where different lines meet up. So this is a junction. And so our school teachers used the same thing when they were teaching us conjunctions. They said, this is where one sentence and another join up, And so it's amazing how innovative teaching can be. And that is what I love about teaching. I buy into your concept of, yes, keeping standards, but not getting annoyed by them. But when somebody, as Jim said very rightly, the reaction to a situation is in your control. In fact, this morning I was talking to my sister, and we were talking about the new education policy. I'll be quick about this. And I was getting annoyed. And then I said, no, I've got to stop getting annoyed, because this is something which is in my control. And so right there in front of my sister, I said, okay, I will not get annoyed. I will not get angry. I will be calm. And that's what happened. So a little victory today.
Yes. Embrace that victory.
Well, the thing is,
Kimberly, what you were saying about syntax in a programming language, that's logical. That makes sense to me. So I had no problem with that.
Right. But we need to be careful in our language. And I think that we're at a junction in our lives where a lot of people don't appreciate good grammar. You can see it in texting. Twittering destroyed it. And we miss a lot of message in not having proper grammar. And I think that's where proper grammar comes into place. And maybe, hopefully, we still have people who document and record our things. But, one of the things I would like to add from a student to a teacher, but also when I've taught, I would give something back to my student and go, wow, that was pretty phenomenal. But if you go back and correct it, I'll have a little conversation with them with what I didn't think was right about it. And if you feel like you can make these corrections and make it better, then I'll give you the better grade. So to me, that is teaching, that is learning, because now the student's going to say, all right, my content was great. She loved my heart being poured out. And she's going to give me a second chance to learn how to say it right. And I think if we give children that opportunity, what would we learn? I mean, seriously, what is to be gained from that, right? Just to say, let's try this again. And we don't see that. We don't see that in testing. We don't see that in the opportunity to give someone a chance to correct their errors. We don't give that in teaching. And to me, that is not teaching and learning. Teaching and learning shouldn't be pass or fail. Learning should precisely be.
Yeah. Completely agree with you, Kim. I guess I spoke about it earlier. I talked about feedback and feed forwards. So our schooling systems is always based on the feedbacks where you are incorrect, there's a cross, or there's a circle, or there's a zero mark. But a feed forward is what you were saying, is just like what you did good, or what you could have done better. So that's a, you're not making that child or that student feel bad about what they did. So when such people come outside the classroom, they always feel, I put so much of effort, as you felt, Jay, that I had done so much well in my history assignment, but my teacher is only looking at my grammatical mistakes and not on my hard work. But the way what Kim is saying is, she is seeing your hard work. She's seeing what you could have done better, and the assignment could have been in a better format, or in a way that both are in a win-win situation. So this empathetic approach from teachers also is very much required. Here in India, when I was in school, I was not a very good one in maths. So for me, the number always danced around me. So when I used to get those numbers, I was always scared of my maths teacher, because he would put a pen inside our fingers and he will beat us if we don't get the proper number. So
Oh,
rather than focusing on the maths and the formulas and anything else, I was scared to a level where I used to memorize all the formulas rather than understanding them.
Yes,
And what
that's
I
very
needed
cool.
was someone to explain me why A plus B is equal to something.
amen.
So for
I never understood that A plus B thing. I'm like, who the heck put the alphabet in math?
yeah, that's what I said. A
Symbolic
and
logic.
A. So for me, A for apple, B is for ball. So how is apple plus ball is something else? I never understood it.
I was
But I
the
hope
same way.
This is my wheelhouse. You're talking A plus B, B plus C.
I think what we fail to tell children is that mathematics is a method of understanding the universe, because when we are scientists, we want to measure.
yeah,
Measuring is numbers, and we want to build a model to understand those numbers. So if we explain that, then all the x and y and a and b, everything makes sense. And it can be done. That is one of the efforts that, because I have done it myself, when I've had questions asked of me, why do we need algebra? And so I had to explain it to rather intelligent children, all of whom are bright in their careers right now. So once you answer that question and you realize that mathematics is all about creating models to understand the universe, to be measurable, to be able to predict what's going to happen, then children will not give you that trouble. But you need to. This can be taught at very basic levels, but it
yeah.
needs good communication skills.
That's
That,
what
that that
many of
is
our
why
teachers did not know
yeah,
that.
and that is why I said that I need a physicist to make me understand the quantum physics, because it was very difficult for me to join numbers and then see the other part of it and realize, okay, this, I know all the theories, I have experienced it on a level of energy, but if you ask me to look at some numbers and then decide, okay, what's going in quantum physics, okay, I'm good at my home. I don't want to learn it. So that's
Oh,
how.
that's very interesting to me, because I gave up mathematics when I got into quantum physics, and it took me years to understand why. And the what I loved about math was that it ordered the universe for me, and it seemed to make sense and was very logical. And like Einstein was imagining the cosmos through mathematics, and it made so much sense to me. And then when you get into quantum mechanics, everything is uncertain again, and I lost
It's
that
so
sense
uncertain.
completely.
They cut it over and they still don't know what to do with it. So don't feel bad, Jim.
And
I
so
spent
I
a
really
room of
became,
professors who go, we still don't know what to do with it.
yeah. Well, one of our professors said that if you think you understand quantum mechanics, you're if quantum mechanics doesn't make you dizzy, you don't understand it.
That's the best way to put it. There is no understanding it.
Yes.
Okay, quantum physics is an infinite amount of capabilities and possibilities, which apparently allows whatever you put into it to be manufactured trillion times faster than anything else we do on Earth. What does that mean to me? Nothing, because the things that you manufacture in AI is so dang fast, my eyes can't see it.
Yeah.
My brain can't calculate it.
No one's can.
Quantum doesn't really buy me anything, so my interest in it kind of went away. I'm like, what more good is this going to do for the individual humankind? And that's the way I approached quantum. It was just, to me, we were paying for something that doesn't buy us anything right now. And I shouldn't say that, because I'm part of people who do a lot of this, and it's intended purpose one day, but they've been playing with it for 100 years.
Yeah.
So,
but I want to ask Coach Kumar, what is it about me who needed to have this ordered understanding of the universe, and when he found uncertainty, was just freaked out and stopped?
I love this, and to an extent that it always gives me a boost, that what I learn or I study over the week, and on the Saturdays I am asked those questions as if divine is preparing me for the weekend. So to your question, Jim, I was studying about star seeds, okay, and which means that our soul reincarnates, and we're not natives of Earth. Couple of us, couple of people are natives of Earth. Couple of us comes from the different star constellation or different planets. So those who comes from a different planet, they have an urge to learn about it, and they easily get detached because they're not in their home zone. So that's what happens, that if you get one fall in what you're doing and not understanding it properly, then you take a step back. It's not that you have stopped it, your subconscious is working on it. And one day, boom, you'll get your breakthrough.
That actually is exactly what happened. That's very interesting. I hope Mark Lee and Zach are watching, because they're thinking of doing a show, weren't they, Ankit, on this?
Yeah, so they'll be doing a show at 12 noon. Once we wrap up at 12, so they'll starting a show. First show is at 12 noon, Funk from the Front Seat by Jack Robertson, and then followed by Plant a Good Seed by Tish Oakley. And then we have Chess Stars, and then we have DJ Night show in the evening as well. So a lot of shows on Saturday. But as Anandi said, there are a lot of different practices and ways around. But when you talk about mathematics, for me, maths is like something which starts when you woke up, and then which is throughout the day. Every time, whenever I do something, there is a maths involved in it. And I don't know, somehow I have a practice that whenever I drive, so I have to count how many poles are there, or what car is running behind me or in front of me, and then I count the numbers. So suppose if Jim is driving and the car name is 4114, so I will just count it, and 4 plus 1 plus 1 plus 4. So I don't know why, but I do it, and I'm doing it from past 20-25 years. I don't know why, because when I see 4 5 numbers, I just have to add it up. I don't know why I do
it. But Coach Kumar,
I am not. Yeah, sorry, Jim.
Oh, I was just going to say that, we had a song that says we're all stardust, and we're all stardust, but not from necessarily the same constellations.
There's some very beautiful articles about the star seeds. If you read them, Jim, I can forward you a couple of links to study about it. And then you will start figuring out that which of them you more resonate to or relate to. Then you might find the answer you were looking for.
Thank you.
And I was meanwhile I was looking for that video which I shared with you, Ankit. Remember the holographic universe?
Yeah.
If you have the link, you can share it here so that everyone can watch it.
Sure, I'll do it.
Thank you.
I think one of the reasons why uncertainty worries people is because it means it's an area of no control. You
Correct.
don't, just like the future, if we have no control on the future. And it's, again, I think something which I learned in New Zealand quite late in my life, that you can say, okay, I have no control, so I don't know what's going to happen. You can view it with excitement, or you can view it with fear. That choice is yours.
I agree, and I learned that late in life, because I approached it initially with fear.
Me
And
too.
when I
I
came
was the
back
same.
to it with excitement, I generated new possibilities and new ideas, and I embraced it, the uncertainty. But I was much older than when I first gave it up, and I gave it up for fear. And it took me a long time to understand what you just said.
So
I learned it late too.
so as Rakesh is saying, that uncertainty is the thought of not being in control, and that leads to the fear of unknown, that what will happen next, and that fear starts controlling us if we do not control it in the given time, or if we do not realize it. It's not always controlling your emotions. It's like accepting it and embracing it.
Yes.
So I have seen a lot of people who are into different modalities of healing and stuff. So for them, it has become it's all magic. I cannot get sad because I am a healer. So life doesn't go that way. If you are born in a human body, God wants you to go through certain experiences. You have to learn all the chapters before you go to your final exam. So, and that's why, I wrote it somewhere that if someone asked me to change any event of my life, if I'm given a time machine, I will not like to change a single event, because each event taught me something. Maybe I got the lesson later in my life, and the incident happened when I was 4, 5, or 10, and I got the lesson when I was 30, but it gave me something to learn and something to realize and move forward with it, with the wisdom, with the awareness. So sometimes we just have to let go that fear of being in control, accept it, embrace it, and just see what it is teaching you, and then you're good to go.
Oh, I think that's so wise. Thank you so much. I think we must look at our own past, because our past forms us, but it can also inform us if we look at it without regret. And that has been a key learning for me, which came late in life.
We can't seem to hear you, Willie.
Yeah, oh yes.
Okay.
Should I play this one?
It's 5 part. This is part one. There are 5 parts to this series, and it talks a lot about quantum physics and our universe and theories related to them. And it's about an hour long, 1.5 hour long. One episode is that long.
Holographic universe.
Where do I find this?
Of a
YouTube.
5-part workshop
I'll share the
series
link.
designed to examine how quantum physics and recent scientific experiments are radically changing our understanding of life, our reality, and our spirituality. For example, in January of 2012, scientists at the GEO 600 gravitational wave detector in Germany announced they now had scientific evidence that the entire universe is a holographic projection around the Earth. We'll take a look at that claim in detail later in this workshop. But first, imagine, if you can, living at a time when everyone thought the Earth was flat, and we based our opinions, beliefs, judgments, and fears on that one single incorrect premise. Imagine believing that if you sailed too far west from Portugal, you'd fall off the edge of the Earth, and how that limited human lives and experience. When we found out the Earth was round, we had to make some serious adjustments in our thinking. But unfortunately, you're going to find out in this workshop series that we simply traded one set of limiting beliefs for another. Well, we're at a turning point in history once again, and I want to share with you this revolutionary idea that we are living in a holographic universe, and explore what that will mean in our everyday lives. Which brings up the question, who am I? And what are my qualifications to present this workshop? Well, my name is Stephen Davis, and that's all you really need to know, because I am not the one who will be speaking to you today. Although you will be hearing my voice, you will not be listening to my beliefs or my opinions, because I am not an expert in quantum physics. Instead, I have brought with me the real experts to talk to you through video clips and audio files and quotes from their books. I want you to hear all of this directly from them, the experts. And if you disagree with something you hear, you'll have to argue with them, not me. I'm literally just the messenger. My job is simply to bring you the message that the Earth is round and give you the scientific evidence for it. What you do with that information is entirely up to you. For example, in 1991, Michael Talbot wrote a book called The Holographic Universe. Unfortunately, Michael died in 1992, just a year later. So this book is already 20 years out of date. And there's been a lot that's happened during that time in this field. But still, it's one of the best books I know to get started. And you'll be hearing a lot of quotes from it today. You'll also be hearing quotes from The Field by Lynn McTaggart, another excellent basic introduction to the subject. And you'll be meeting and hearing from a lot of different experts, mainly physics professors at various colleges and universities from all over the world, such as David Bohm, renowned quantum physicist at Princeton University, Carl Pribram, neurophysiologist, Georgetown University, David Albert, Director of Philosophical Foundations of Physics, Columbia University, Richard Feynman, Professor of Theoretical Physics, California Institute of Technology, John Hagelin, Physics Professor at Maharishi University, Stuart Hameroff, Associate Director of the Center for Consciousness, University of Arizona, Nick Herbert, Assistant Professor of Physics, Monmouth College, Mikhail Nedwith, Professor of Systematic Theology, Maynooth College in Ireland, Andrew Newberg, Director of the Center for Spirituality and the...
Very good.
Like a long video, so maybe we can have a separate
Yeah,
session.
it is about 1.5 hours. It's a five episode series, and one episode is about 1.5 hours. So that's why I asked to share the link, and on this link you will find the links to the other episodes as well. So
But
this is
what do you think, Coach Kumar, that the Earth is flat or round?
Earth is how you see it. So
I think Rakeshji have a better detailed answer whether the
yeah,
Earth
of
is
course,
flat or round.
yes.
I've just
What do you think?
copied the link into another window, and I will see it at leisure. So
I'm doing that too.
it's interesting. It's not the first time I've come across this concept, but I did not. To be honest, I just dismissed it again, closed mind. I will take a good look at it. This is, as you say, everything happens for a purpose. So I'll take a look at it and see where I am at the end of that tunnel. So, yeah, it is important to have an open mind because otherwise you don't learn. I will match up everything against what I have learned and what is coherent to me so far. And then if it stands the test, hey, why not?
Coach
And what do
Kumar,
you
have
think,
you ever seen
is the Earth is flat from Australia and not in US?
Oh, we still can't hear you, Willie.
We can't hear you. Okay, can you check your mic connection?
Have you ever heard of the series Initiation on Gaia television?
Check the mic plug, Willie. Check the mic plug.
No.
Oh, okay. It's on Prime Amazon, and it's a journey to the origin of the universe, and it's actually quite fascinating. But I also copied and pasted it into another window so that I can look at that in more depth as well, because these things I think are extremely interesting to me because they're talking about things that we are almost afraid to think about. And our fear sometimes stops us from even considering these possibilities because then all that we know is turned upside down.
Yeah. As Rakesh was saying that what we have learned, and I always talk about this, that we have to unlearn a lot to learn new things. When I started my spiritual journey, and I think I have shared the story many a times now, I was so apprehensive about it, and I was so skeptical about it, that how can putting my hand on someone or just praying like this can change anything? And I went to my mentor and I told her, you are just making money out of poor people who come to you for their counseling, and you're just luring them into your business, telling them that just put your hand like this and you will do wonders. I am that person who is now promoting it, because I experienced it over the period of time that it does work. When you believe in it, when you change your frequency, and
Yes.
Rakesh, you agree to this. In India, we always say, "Jaisa sochoge waisa hoga." So how does that work? So it's like the way you think, it will manifest in your life. So just changing your thoughts. What are you doing? You're just sending a different vibration, and that's how the things are changing in your life. So
I'm
I
reluctant to use words like vibration because a vibration means a wave, and I need to know what energy. You know, my
Yes.
So
physics.
our brain have electrical. I'm not very biological person or a physicist type of person who have the correct terminology, but I think that there's an electrical spark in our body, and in our brain, and in our heart as well.
My,
So
my,
when
yeah, I would put it beyond any of the known physical forces because we have 5 different physical forces on Earth. And I think that there is one more force that we don't yet understand.
Correct.
Perhaps
The
this
human
is one.
force.
My mind is open on that front. I wouldn't say it's an electrical force or a nuclear force or a gravitational force. Even gravity, we don't know too much about. So my mind is open on that. But but beyond that, I don't know what to say. I really have not enough knowledge to make a comment.
I don't either, but I will make a comment. Because how do we explain? Well, first of all, your example of gravity is perfect because we assume that there are gravitational waves, but we've never observed them. We don't have a way of observing them. But if you jump up, you come down. But there are no strings attached to you. There's no rubber band that brings you back to Earth. So how is this happening? We can see the effects of gravity, but we don't see it. We don't see gravity itself. So, and my question in quantum physics was, where I stopped was synchronicity at a distance. I could not understand how you could separate two particles and yet they would maintain their synchronicity.
It's
So if you
called
change,
quantum entanglement.
yes, and so that was the part that I got confused. And now I believe that there is another force that we have yet to recognize, that we do not understand, we cannot measure, we cannot detect, let alone measure, that is operating at a level that we cannot understand. Because Einstein was the great mathematician to explain the world of the very large, and we have not had an Einstein of the world of the very small. So we do not know how they stay entangled. How
Yes.
this
I
I,
just
I,
want to add something to what you just said, because the entanglement and everything, it makes me think of something that just has been driving me crazy for my whole life since I was probably a little girl. And you know how we're supposed, the earth spins, things still move, even though we don't physically see ourselves move. But I would put my jewelry in, my necklaces in a jewelry box, nice, neat, and organized. Aside from getting pins and holding them down, which I don't think this would work, I would make sure they were nice, neat, and organized. Go in a week later, and it looked like my sister got in there and just shook it up and tangled them up, and they were all gnarled up. And I'm like, how did this happen? Right? So when I got older and left home and didn't have a sibling doing that, I would ask myself, if I left my jewelry all nice and organized, and I would come back and it's all kind of, mixed up and tangled up. And then you have to undo the knots and stuff like that. So, now I got a system, you just pin them down and,
you will not be denied.
I'm going to figure this gravity spinning stuff out. But you're talking about the entanglement, right? And everything, because maybe there is no true law of physics that lands perfect, right? And we make math perfect so that we can accept it. We make our language somewhat perfect so that we can accept, our minds can accept it. But maybe the true understanding isn't perfect. And
It's
and
a
maybe that's
constant
what
search
is
for
really good about it.
predictability.
This
It's
is
a constant
quantum
search
mind.
for predictability. We're always looking to be able to predict
Exactly.
something. And nature says, they show you it. Nature shows you its middle finger. you know?
That is my jewelry box. Yeah. But seriously, have
The
you
closer you get,
noticed
the bigger
that?
that finger gets.
Have you ever not noticed how if you put strings in a box, they get all tangled up?
Oh,
And
don't they? Yes.
haven't you ever noticed this, Willie? Yeah, really, right?
Yeah.
It's enough to make ask you, but maybe we're talking about quantum mind healing here.
Your
That
jewelry, I'm afraid, your jewelry is still part of the world of the very large. We're talking about the world of the very small.
right.
And so we're talking at a subatomic level and beyond subatomic level. What are the quarks that make up these subatomic particles? And
Yeah.
so these things, well, strings might make up the quarks. And so when we get down to that level, we're starting to look at particles that spin around each other at a certain rate, and you separate them and you change the spin of this one, and this one's spin changes too. How does that
Automatic, instantaneously.
instantaneously?
But we've
So
learned that this can be dangerous too, and messing with things that we think we understand and we don't.
We will have the technology one day to understand it. Just now, we don't have that technology. I'm optimistic. One day we will understand it because we're part of this universe. We're bound to be able to understand it. It's just developing the technology.
I think you should learn from Coach Kumar how to understand this, because I don't think you're going to build an instrument that will be able to satisfy you.
I don't know. Maybe. I'm just
Maybe.
keeping an open mind.
Yes,
Yeah,
but your
so,
optimism doesn't have to be about mechanics. It can also be about spiritual.
It
You
could
know,
be. Maybe we'll understand spirituality through a completely different set of instruments. Who knows?
Well,
But
every
I think
scientist had to have faith in something they didn't understand in order to go forward and find the answers. So scientists had that faith inside their heart to say, you know what, I don't understand it, I don't see it, but I'll figure it out. So they had to believe in it before they actually made it happen.
Let's
But go
let
ahead.
Coach Kumar talk. She's been trying to get in.
Sorry.
No. I would
also
just.
what I believe is that
Ankit, let Coach Kumar talk.
That's okay. Ankit, go ahead, please.
no, that's fine. It's your turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was just saying that even if we don't understand things and we mess things up, still we can, just with the intention of making something beautiful, we can still make something beautiful out of it. And I have a very good live example. I will just switch off my camera for a moment, and then I'll show you what I made of, and then I'll tell the story of what I made of all the mess.
She's so cute. I can't imagine.
I don't know what she's doing, but I can
I'm
see.
gonna go.
There it is. Yeah.
I'm gonna go behind the screen. Oh wow!
How did you do that?
Oh, wow! Wow!
I'm dizzy. I don't understand it. It's scaring me.
Okay.
It's not scaring me. I think it's beautiful.
I know. I'm
Lovely.
teasing.
It's lovely. Kind of distracts the mind, right? The lights, the stars.
Yeah.
Like it
But what
kinda-
was real about that? What was real? Her face, or what she was playing around with?
So there we go.
There she is. This is
That was
reality.
beautiful. That was beautiful.
Thank you so much. So these are the Christmas lights, Kim. And you know what happened? There was two sets of the lights. Initially, I had one set of it, and they tie it with the zip tie to make it in a shape. And I don't know what mindset I was in that day when I wanted to just decorate my studio room a little bit more. And in that flow, I cut all the zip ties, and it was all tangled up, and it was like, and from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. the entire afternoon, I was just tying it here, tying it there, and trying to make it perfect as it was.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, what I've done, I have messed it all up. Now what? What will I do of it? Then I thought, okay, I have one more, and what else I could do? What else is possible with this? And then, which the one which I had in a perfect shape, I tied it with the wall against the wall, and the one which was messed up, which is the most beautiful piece of the entire art, I have hanged it in the corner, and when that lights up, it seems. And when I sit there and read my book, and just outside that window, there's a lot of greenery which you could not see at night. But there's a lot of money plant and other greenery, so it feels that I'm sitting in a jungle with all stars around me, and I'm reading my book or I'm doing my whatever like studies or anything. So even if we have messed up badly, we can still make something beautiful just with the intentions.
You created your own temple.
She's a rebel. I love it. She cut all of those ties.
I don't
And
know
she
what
said,
I was thinking.
she
You're
said,
a
oops,
rebel.
I
I
made a
love it.
mistake. Oh, well.
No, she decided she wanted to make it in her shapes, and I love it. So, Ankit, what did you have to say?
Oh, well, I just wanted to say that I mean we started feeling the energy which we don't know, and we because once we need to feel it, then we understand it, and then we'll start researching on it, as Rakesh said. So we know there's an energy, but we don't know what is that energy all about, because we can see that energy between human to human, between human to plants, between humans to animals, and vice versa. So there is something, but we don't know, but we know we are feeling it. Some people can feel it a negative way, some people can feel it as a positive way, but there is something definitely going around, and that's why we have a lot of these kind of unwanted, unnecessary I mean it can happen to anyone, I mean at any point of time, at any part of the world basically. So that's what I mean research can tell us, but we've started feeling it, so we are at a right stage, and we are in the process of making sure that what is it all about. That's what I wanted to say.
Yes, thank you, Ankit. That's wonderful. I also think that, during this pandemic, I have felt hug deprivation. I have not been able to hug people the way I used to. And what is that communication that happens when you're having a good hug with someone else? And that communication is so infinitely superior to our words and our language, that we're communicating to one another when we're hugging one another. And what is that communication? How do we detect it, let alone measure it? I have no idea, but I know it exists because I feel it.
But
Yeah.
Jim, I mean, I know that hugging is something which is very popular, and people do it around the world. But in India, apart from hugging, we touch our elders' feet with our hand, and that is also a touch. And when we touch it, we get some kind of blessings, and there is some connection basically going around. And also, I mean, scientifically, I'm not sure, but all our, I mean, priests and a lot of people, they used to take a holy bath every morning, and then they don't, I mean, they don't directly see the sun. So while doing a bath, they have some water, and that water have a reflection of sun, and that's how they can see the sun at the deviation basically. And that's good for eyes, and that's good for a lot of things. And there is also a kind of connection. That's what I mean. All our priests and all our ancestors told us about, and we still follow that. I mean, when we go for a holy bath at River Ganges, and everyone tries to follow the same routine basically. So there are a lot of natural ways of connection we are doing it, but we still don't know logically, and why we do it, and what are the I mean pros and cons behind it. But there are a lot of rituals which we follow in India around the around the clock, and there are rituals which changes every 100 kilometers in India. As the language changes, the ritual changes a bit, and then from north to south, people follow something similar, but in their own different manner. And if we talk about our Indian festivals, we do celebrate festivals with mud, with water, with air, with fire, with stones. So all the festivals are related to some kind of a natural, earthy things which is relevant. and also I mean we do a lot of prayers in front of trees or maybe plants as well. So I don't know. I mean, but there is something related to nature which we follow in India, and I believe that I mean people around the world also follow the same thing. But we do a lot of things over and above what I mean people across the world do that. But also I tell you one more thing. I mean, Doctor Saggu wanted to join us today, but he donated his plasma for a COVID cause. So he
Yeah,
taking
what a
a rest
nice
today.
man.
So, yeah. So he'll be sharing the experiences next week. So he won't be able to join us today. So he just said that I'm fine and taking the right precautions. So he'll share the experiences next week. So he'll not be joining.
Well, and we know that not everybody can come every week on the show. Ankit's the only one I think who's done
The Iron Man.
stop the Iron Man. Yeah, this is the real Iron Man. But I want to add something to this touch because this is something that I was talking with someone about. The touching and how we stay connected as a human touch. The human touch, nature touches each other, right? The birds, the mama bears, the cats, you see them, but we receive touch when we're connected to our mother before we're born, right? We feel that human touch, and then when we're born, fortunately, majority of us are touched. We feel the breath of our mother, of our parents, and it's love at first sight. But it's that touch, that connectivity that we feel. That feeling carries with you the rest of your life. That is life, I believe. And this is a conversation I was having with someone who sees people in life or death situations every day. And I said, do you know that when a person's dying and you think they're unconscious and they can't hear or feel, they actually probably can't. You may think they can't, but because the person on the bed, if they live, they might come back and go, I remember you said that. So be careful what you say around a person that's unconscious. But that person unconscious can feel. You may not know it, and maybe they can't react to that feel, but they can. And it's that touch that we get that brings you back to life sometimes. And I just wanted to share that because what you're talking about, that hug, that's a feeling. But we teach each other that's how we share that feeling, right? The big bear hug and shake you all around. But you can get it from touching like kids as you touch the elder's feet. You might get it by my dad. He would always touch my face right here, right? That touch.
I feel it.
But you can make that kind of contact maybe by touching someone's shoulder now instead, or in a different mannerisms. Maybe our touches can be, but I think that connectivity is always going to be important because we're born with it. And Coach Kumar, you might be able to add to this better than I can, but I'm just expressing my experience from where touch can.
Before we go to the expert, let's hear from Rakesh. She's got his hand up.
Okay, I'm just drawing your attention to a German king, the guy who built that castle, Neuschwanstein. He was a very strange man. He was slightly mad, and he took 40 children from around Germany and put them in a nursery. And his instructions were that nobody was to cuddle or touch those children except for feeding them and cleaning them when they passed out their excreta. And all of those children, though they were well looked after, they were fed on time, each one of those children died. Newborn children, each one of them died. So that just shows I'm not much of a touchy person. Except my wife, I don't think I hugged anybody else. but this is something which I came to know about from the neighbor who was staying with me. I told you, the Austrian lady who was staying next to me in Auckland. And I checked that out, and I was astonished to find that this was indeed a fact. And because he was the king, of course, he was deposed after that for this and several other atrocities. But yeah, this is something which is just, underlines the importance of touch.
Well, we've learned from Coach that we have a lot of electrical that we don't understand in our own bodies. We think we do, but there's so much. And we just need to learn to stay calm, as Willie Shirt says, when things are not calm in your world. Take some breaths, refocus, because too many things are out there to make you unfocused. But I think the loss of touch has been a great loss for a lot of people. I've seen the damages that it can be, do to people, because so many people are becoming angry, aggressive, and I think it's, we need to find a way to regain that. I truly believe that we start building our immunity system with all of these good, healthy habits that Dr. Saggu teaches us, and Dr. Tula, and all the doctors. I'm not just going to name them. Akowitz, all of them have given us, Dr. Yu, good, healthy ideas to build our own immunities. And I think that's going to be the important thing, so that we can touch people. There you go, Jim.
It makes me smile.
There you go. So, so my doctors one time told me, when you touch your mouth a lot, people who do this, and sometimes even people who chew that's a sign of you're reaching for something to sensitivity, right? Comfort. That's the word I'm looking for. I put a pin, think, that's a comfort. Anything to the mouth is a comfort. Hands, like we're talking about, Coach Kumar taught us. This has been really good for me to do this and think and learn. So these are good practices, and people should open their hearts, because these aren't things that hurt you. This is what I tell people. This is not stuff that can hurt you. This is not politics. This is about just becoming one with yourself again and understanding who you are and the truth of nature. It's not about anything bad. So, Willie, you're awful quiet today. What's up?
No, I think there's something wrong with my mic.
And now we can hear you.
Now it's perfectly fine.
You fixed it.
Okay. There you go. Sorry.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yay!
I loved it.
I thought that's a statement.
We need some more control freaks on this show.
So I think that we're all faced with uncertainty right now. I think this has been good. I know Sharif has been struggling since the loss of his aunt. Now his mom has been sick, and I think she's getting better. So, but when you're facing with these certain uncertainties, a lot of things build up on you every day.
Oh, yeah.
And being able to chill out on Saturday with you guys and just kind of let it go, maybe share a little bit about things, but also just listen to other people. This is really healthy. And, doing some of these practices, I do this almost every day now. You have no idea. I ground myself out, and I do throw the ball at people, but it's an imaginary ball, right?
But I've got a suggestion for Ankit, because right now we're talking about quantum physics and forces that we cannot detect, and this might be over some people's heads. So I think we should have Coach Kumar start a show, Spirituality for Dummies.
There you go. Spirituality for dummies. It needs to be done because it's hard to start from ground zero, right? We all think we have some sort of threshold that we're in control of our lives, and the biggest, hardest thing to admit is I don't. Yeah. And then to say, okay, these are things that I need to fix.
Well, and we're trained to lie to ourselves in that way, that we do have control. We're told that we have to exert our will and stay in control. and you are responsible for your life, and you're responsible for earning a certain amount of money, and you're responsible for doing this, and you're trained to think this way. So it takes a lot to unlearn that training. It's a very difficult process for me.
But if we do get that control that we crave continually, just imagine how boring life would be. There would be nothing unexpected.
Well, none of the emperors of Rome were ever happy.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
true.
you were happy being unhappy. Maybe that
Yeah.
was your. Maybe
That
that was-
happiness is within you. You could choose to be happy or not. It's a choice.
maybe they enjoyed being like everything's a problem because it made them look more important. And sometimes it's you gotta, like somebody told me last week, you gotta embrace the suck. Whoa. It's like that's a military term, and that's what they teach you, right?
Coach Kumar's nodding her head.
We all operate from our own needs, which we talked earlier. Some people might want significance, and that's why unhappy is good for them. Some people want certainty, and being in control is important for them. Some people want the significance, significance I mentioned. Some people want to contribute, and the growth is important for them. So they operate from that place. So the basic nature of a person is developed. What is that person is seeking in that moment? So that's how we all start operating. And I liked you when you said it, Kim, that you throw the energy ball. Next time when you make and you want to throw it on someone, just fill that ball with lots of love and forgiveness and throw it on them.
Okay, I'll try.
See how things start
Practice.
shifting.
You
Okay.
take practice. You have to try it a lot and many times.
It's funny because something else I've noticed is, my mom always said, be careful of a lot of negative people because misery loves company. And she was always good for saying these things and to be careful of who you surround yourself with. And, I've always been open to anyone, right? But sometimes there are those people who do drag you down. And these are things that we have to, unfortunately, learn how to also say, you know what, no matter how good my life is and I got control of this, even though I accept I don't, but but these people will continue to drag you down. And eventually you just have to say, enough, I have to separate myself from that kind of environment and bring myself back up and with the right people, surround myself with good people. And that is
a saying for that, Kimberly. As I say, you have to forget in order to remember. Sometimes you have to subtract in order to add. You have to take some people out of your life in order to add to it. And if they're dragging you down, maybe you need to be subtracting them out of your life.
This is what I always tell people, because I've seen this spoken about many times by very, very successful people. And this one guy, he would take out his fingers like this and he goes, this is the first thing you have to learn how to do, right? And so when he did that, I felt like, wow, when I did that, there's a balloon that just kept lifting, right? And you keep lifting and you keep lifting. But he said it's the hardest thing to do, right? It is literally and he's a very, very wealthy man. You guys probably know him, Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. And I got to go see him speak, and his message was pretty clear, that you need to prioritize yourself really well. This to me is a spiritual thing. To be able to prioritize your life is a very spiritual thing. It's not a business thing. They think it's business. I think it's far, far greater than that. So
we call it drawing a healthy boundary. And that boundary is in terms of your job, business, how you deal with your day-to-day life. Initially, or maybe earlier, as I said, I wanted to run into everything. So if 10 clients call me, I wanted to accommodate all of them. And by the end of the day, I was completely exhausted. So, and then what was happening? I was not eating properly. I was not sleeping properly. And so by drawing a boundary that, okay, 3 clients a day or 4 clients a day, not more than that, it's not that I'm ignoring them. It's just I'm taking some time out of my timetable only for myself.
Yes.
So the same as with people. If someone's presence or if someone's thoughts are making me feel in a certain way which I am not liking or it's not good for my mental peace, then I would say namaste. I will see you next week. Just just drawing that healthy boundary around you. It's not isolating yourself or neglecting someone else. It's just protecting your peace of mind. That's all.
And you have to
That's
do
re-
that.
that's really great. I'm trying to put together a prison program teaching prisoners how to build businesses, but at the same time, it's a prison environment. Some very aggressive people in there. So what I'm looking at leveling the boundaries is using or ice bath, just to bring them down a bit
Right.
to manage the environment a bit more. Yeah, I'm a control freak. I admit that, but bring these guys down a bit, so that
I'm curious.
anything that I'm sharing with them is taken on board, as opposed to, because if you don't control the environment with prisoners, you lose. They
Yes.
just take over and walk all over you.
Yes, of course.
I want to ask you, Willie, what is the one thing, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but gosh, you got my attention. What is the one thing you do to ice bath it? What is one good thing? Because it might help some of us on the outside. It should be in the inside.
Ice bath. Ice bath is when you're sitting in there, and the question that you keep repeating to yourself is, when will it end? Because it's so cold, it's freezing, and you're just wanting it to end, to stop. And you have no control over that, because the person that's going to call time is beyond your control. It's somebody out there that's going to say, okay, time. And because you don't have control of that, your mind is in a world saying, when will this stop? When will this stop? Will it get any colder? Will it get warmer? It's totally beyond your control. And that's the thing I like about ice bath. And because, like on a roller coaster, you can't get off. The roller coaster keeps going. You can't get off. There's no getting off. And the same thing with ice bath. There's no getting out until the guy says time. Okay, well, let's get out of here. So
I don't know if I'm going to go to that prison.
And also people who take challenges and who are determined and who are resilient for some work and who accept Billy's challenge, they will only go for the path. You'll get the filtration automatically. You don't have to talk and do anything else.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Okay, there were three options: do ice bath, bungee jumping, or skydiving. I can't take prisoners skydiving or bungee jumping because they might die. So the only thing I can do is
they might escape on those two. Cut the cord and out of here. Yeah, that would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Well, I have these sayings that I use daily to remind myself. Forget to remember, subtract to add. But Coach Kumar taught me one: detach to attach, and I wanted to ask to help me understand that a little bit better, so that I could add that to my daily mantras.
Jim, have you ever tasted a sweet thing, something which is really sweet? Sprinkle a little salt on it and then taste it. It's even sweeter. I think it's got to do with that concept. The contrast sort of heightens your sense perception.
That's very interesting.
Yes, it is.
There's something.
I've actually tried this. We have these things called payasams, which are milk and concoctions with rice and whatever. And one day when I tasted it, it was a little sweeter. So I asked Mom what happened, and she said I put a pinch of salt in it, and that made all the difference. So I was thinking, because we had a thinker called Swami Vivekanand, who said that every time you fail, think of it as the salt of sweet life. It just heightens your perception and gives you without a failure, you would not appreciate what is success.
True.
So and that's got me thinking about if we did succeed in controlling our lives, we would get thoroughly bored with our lives. You know,
We wouldn't learn anything either. If everything was a success, what would we learn? So they're just they're somebody. I've just read a quote like that. I think it was Denzel Washington said that if you don't have any failures in life, then you've done nothing.
yes, I read that recently. Yeah,
You know, so and you have to do stuff. You're gonna fail. You're gonna trip. You're gonna fall. You're gonna burn your finger. I mean, and Kate, you cook a lot. Do you ever accidentally burn your finger?
Very rarely. I mean, I don't remember, but maybe by mistake. But
Iron Man.
But occasionally you might, But what I'm saying is sometimes when you're just doing a lot of things, that you're going to make mistakes, and those mistakes, hopefully small, but some can be bigger. But you gotta learn to face it and move on. And
but I believe in practice. I mean, the more you practice, the more you get proficient. Whether it's cooking or driving or eating or learning or whatever you want to do, basically.
No one's played the perfect chess game yet.
It takes a lot of time, and we don't have time, basically.
I just think it's they don't allow me enough time to think.
just get you one of those patches, Jim.
Yeah, I do have those handy.
I would like to ask ANANDMAI one thing, that when Willie talks about prisoners, there's always a story that prisoners are also smart and intelligent. It's just that their energy is into a different, business or different thing, or maybe they are a little negative or something they're trying to achieve, which is not good in terms of ethics, basically. So is it possible in some sense or spiritually where we can change your mind direction from negativity to positivity?
Yeah, I'm so glad, Ankit. And as I said, that someone tells me the question ahead. And I was actually, when Willie was talking about it, I so wanted to tell him that you remember the Ho'oponopono tune which we
oh
played?
yeah,
Yeah.
So, Willie, what I would like you to do that maybe Ankit can share the link with you. And do you have a file or a collection of their photos or their crimes or anything with their names or something?
No, I'm trying to set up a program like that. I haven't started it yet. I'm sort of
Okay.
I'm doing the program, the documentation and all that.
Okay. So when you have their names or maybe a photograph, so before going to meet them, just play this Ho'oponopono, thinking with an intention that it's healing them as well.
Yep.
And if the authorities allows, ask them to sit with themselves for 15-20 minutes in meditation, and it will just shift the energy from, because Ankit, as you said, their intention when they were committing the crime might have been something different. Maybe they were in anger, rage, frustration. But once in all this cycle, when the crime is going on, or all this crime, uh, the court cases, and then the jail, there's one moment when they also introspect and say that, oh my God, I have done something wrong. Whether they say it on your face or not. I have worked with a couple of prisoners earlier, not now. So they used to say, "Kiya to kya kiya?" Like, whatever I have done it. Like, it's right for me. They will not come up on the face and say that I have done a mistake, but somewhere deep down their heart, they also know that they have done something wrong. So if they have that realization, these practices can shift them. And Willie, the story behind this Ho'oponopono, it started from a prison in Africa. There was a prison on an island which they made for prisoners who has committed heinous crimes. And there was one doctor. They never met them in person. They just used to open his file and chant Ho'oponopono for that particular prisoner in one day, one prisoner one day. That was his practice. And after a couple of years or maybe a couple of months, I do not remember exactly the time, they had to close that jail. No prisoner was there. They all turned into a good human being. So it's a very interesting story. If you wish, you can go on online and read about it. It started in with a prison. So when you spoke about prison, I so wanted to share this with you, and Ankit asked me that question.
No,
Yeah.
so I have one more thing. I mean, I still remember when I was in school. I was one of the monitors in the class and maybe of our standard. And our duty is to make sure that we follow the discipline and also make sure that we follow good ethics. And the important ethic during our time is that we don't have to take any leave from the school unless we are very ill. So suppose if I have to go to 100 days of my school within a year, I generally go all 100 days. I don't take any leave or any. There is no vacation.
Well, let's make the crazy town.
So basically, so that's why I mean, one of our teachers appointed me as one of the monitors, and now our duty is to make sure that everyone follow the right practices and no one misbehave or do anything which is inappropriate in the school. But I'll tell you something. When we were in school, people started having cigarettes, and I don't know how many people I have been counsel. I don't know about anything about cigarettes, but you just tell them that you are ruining your life and you're ruining your family's life and all those things, and save that money and all those. I don't remember what I've said, but a lot of people have stopped. I mean, having cigarettes in school. I'm not sure what happened after that, but it's just an instinct. And I mean, someone appointed me, and I was accountable, so I was just following and I mean, sharing the right practices. But there are a lot of such kind of incidents happen. But now when I see those school or college going friends or maybe my friends as well, they have this huge beard, and the beard is like for next 5 years or since maybe 2012 or 2015. And I asked them that why you don't cut your beard. I mean, at least cut once and then you can have it again, because it's just a hair of your body. You can have it again. And they said that no, it's cool, and we wanted to follow Virat Kohli and all those stuff. And I don't understand, because I told them that this is your life. Maybe suppose you're 24 or 34, so you won't be 34 again. So at least see how you look in 34. I mean, maybe you can have the beard again. And if you have that macho body and beard and you want to do something, then you should join a territorial army for like 3 months and go and see what's happening in Ladakh or maybe in borders. Because if you have that macho body, if you wanted to go to gym, and if you think that you are tough, and if you ask them generally, then they're ready to fight basically. They're very aggressive, because I don't know why, but the point is that they have a lot of energy, and we are not. A lot of people are not using the energy in the right manner. They are diverting their energy into something else, and which is causing a lot of problems in the society as well. So I don't know. I mean, whether we can have a course or how we can counsel them or things like that. But I think we can do a lot of things with them, because they have a lot amount of energy which can be utilized in a much more positive manner to help the society. What do you think?
Yeah, one of my best friends, when you mentioned that, Willie, about prisoners, my best friend who in New Zealand, he used to work with prisoners too. And he used to work with some of the worst, people who were convicted pedophiles. And it was so hard to change attitudes. And the moment you walked into the room, this is what he said. I did not accompany him on the visits, but he said the moment you walked into the room, the first thing they were thinking was, what levers do I push for this guy? So I don't know how you handle it. I should imagine it is a very tough task. I'm sure I would have all my levers pushed, but I'm sure what you're doing is really difficult, and it's a very tough task.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to do is embed, because I'm a Christian background, embed that into a religious perspective. Do the business, but weave it into like a resilience, to be more resilient, to be a better version of yourself. That's why the ice bath. Outside, one of the things I'm wanting to do outside is do a 25K walk in the morning. Like 4 a.m. in the morning, you do this walk, go for a long walk. And these are the things that builds resilience in you. And this resilience is then transferred to your business setting. or your startup setting, so that you overcome. Because when you're starting a business, there's nothing that's guaranteed. There's
That's
just a
true.
whole lot of uncertainty. And the only way you can get past uncertainty is your resilience. If you're resilient in yourself, and if you don't have like a moral compass to guide you in your resilience, you're going to fall down all the time, and
Yes.
it's,
Yes.
that's just very hard. So that's why I'm trying to embed resilience into a startup program, so that when you come out, one, you're a better version, and your startup also has a better success rate because you're a bit more resilient.
Yeah, my
And
friend Colin. Sorry, my friend Colin
Yep.
is also from a Christian background, and he would
Yep,
take
yep.
the Gideon's Bibles along with him.
Yep.
And so, though we have different beliefs, we're very, very close friends. So,
Yep.
and so when you talked about the prison program, I thought of Colin quite a bit.
Yeah. And so I've got a name for the book: Mind, Body, Spirit for Dummies.
Ah, right. It is so important to integrate all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, Mind, Body, Spirit for Dummies, because that way people that are religiously motivated feel part of it, and those that are not religiously motivated still feel part of it, because it has the Mind, Body, Spirit for Dummies. So I just think it's a good name.
Yes, I think so too.
Sharif, you're awful quiet today.
Okay. No, like example, I'm just listening because I think that listening also very important if I want to learn, because this is very interesting session for spirituality and this kind of things. I'm actually from different background. Let's say I'm Muslim. So, actually, I do not want to go with the religious point of view, because what I try to understand from Bible, from Quran, and other source of religion book, actually, we have many more similarities. Okay, but somehow historically, we do a lot of fighting, we do a lot of things which is not relevant based on religion. Actually, religion has very important thing. Let's say Muslim and Jewish community has big fighting, okay, even in Middle East. But interestingly, I find that 90% of our activities, Muslim, Jew is almost same. Like let's say Muslim prayer 5 times, Jewish prayer 3 times. We eat halal food. Jewish people eat kosher.
Gosh.
We have Islamic finance. They have something like that. So actually, religious point of view, I do not want to go better. I try to find out. Even Christianity, we have many more similarities. Religion wise, we have many more similarities. Even example, India, let's say they have different religion, but I try to understand this, like from the Arab like businessman with a religious point of view. Those who go to India, they develop their religious point of view in a different way. I want to say India and subcontinent is more based on spirituality. Their business, their activities, their even every activity is actually more based on spirituality. And this is actually true. Let's say my mother sick, even my auntie also died. Like I can remember with my auntie just 2 days ago, I discussed with her, and she was very well, but she died in between 2 days. So actually, we never know what will happen in the futures, what will happen tomorrow, day after tomorrow. We never know. So someone, somehow, some of the like important things maybe we have, they are controlling our life. They are controlling somehow. I don't know. Maybe it's a, what we say Allah. Someone say God. Someone say different. But in terms of spiritual point of view, what I believe that actually who am I? First, who is my community? If my community is good, let's say in IBM TV, I like, because all of them actually positive people come here. So it's my inner feelings. I feel good when I join there. Second things, what I read, let's say there are many media, many things happening, even social media, when we open, many negative things. But how we read, this is also important. And what we listen. Let's say now I'm listening, I'm trying to understand what the meaning of spirituality and different aspect and different cultures. India has different culture, maybe USA has different culture, different point of view. So the more I can listen and the more I can read and the more I can make a better community, maybe at least what you say, the protecting myself, I can build up a better community. And yes, rest of the things we can try, we can work, we can do everything, but we never know what will happen after 1 hour or 2 hours. We never know. So I think that's the important part. I think spirituality and these things playing a very important role. And yes, I'm a believer actually. Even in Malaysia, it's a very open country. You can do whatever we do. But yes, I enjoy when I go to mosque, me and my wife, my family, and we try to pray 5 times. And I try to read even Quran, even Mahabharat, and whatever it is. I love to read, and I find actually religion is not a big issues. Big issues actually humanity. If you are a good human, and if we can collaborate with a good human, life is beautiful. And definitely we have to find out the peace, inner peace. So inner peace actually come from good human. So that is the achievement of IBM TV. I think you have a very good community. So this
Thank
is very
you.
interesting.
We do
Yeah.
too. And thank you so much, Sharif. That warms my heart to hear that, we're not just um, trying to do something, we are doing something and learning. I noticed that Coach Kumar might have to leave. But before she does, I always like for her to kind of give us some little play work that we do, but also some prayer, some means of helping us ground ourselves for the week, charge our batteries.
Okay, home place. So for this week, I guess I have given this earlier as well, but this time what I want everyone to do it very religiously and follow it. Write affirmations for yourself. Initially, I said that write 5 good things about you. Now write affirmations for yourself, like 5 to 10 good things about what you like about you. And then also, if you have time and if you encounter any of them, you have to write your negative emotions throughout the week. That what was it which was triggered the most, or maybe like how I like got angry with mom, and just a short note that what happened during that time, so that when I'm sitting with my journal and introspecting, I will remember that what was the event which was happening, and that what was the emotion which was triggered due to that emotion. So that is something I want everyone to do. And with the other home place where we have to ground ourselves, we have to hold our fingers, count our breathing, and spending time with ourselves. We have to do this thing. You have to write 10 good things about you and affirmations, and your negative emotions as well. Because at the end of the day, what I pray for everyone, and I wish that they don't always need me to come and tell them what to do and what not to do. They should learn fishing, and they should know how to fish. They should not need me for fishing for them. So that's how we create a beautiful world. And as Sharif was also saying, that all the religions, and we have discussed this earlier also, Ankit, that all the religions is based on belief, love, intention. That's all.
I
It's,
completely agree because a newborn child doesn't know about religion, but we eventually teach or taught them that this is your religion and this is her religion and this is that religion, and that's a matrix or permutation where we all fall in, and then we don't know how to come out of that. And that's why we talk about global citizenship, because if you are a global citizen, you don't have to follow any religion. You have to just respect each and every person, whatever the rituals they have, and just follow the right practices and share the best. Practice what you can share to the world.
yeah, Ankit, no religion is bad. The as Sharif said, the fights for it. I am right. I am right. Everyone says I am right. So in their world, they're right, but they want you also to say that they are right, and then that's when the fight starts. Okay, you're right. I agree with it, but I'm also right. So we have to come to that place. So yeah, that is a place where we all have to come. That okay, you are right in your world, and I agree and I respect it. But I'm also right in my world. You have to respect it. Very simple. But we start saying, no, 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 you cannot be right. Only I am the right one. Then
No, I
all
completely agree. I completely agree because, but also if I rephrase that, people say that my history is different from your history because whatever I have learned in my school or college days is different from what Sharif learned about his religion or his country, and same goes with Jim and Rakesh ji and Billy and Kim. And then we are still following the same pattern because whatever we learn, we are following and we accept that thing. But that might be different from what other people have been doing it. And also when we talk about religious leaders, I mean they have to take some responsibilities and make sure that they are taking accountability whatever they are sharing or teaching or I mean explaining to the world or their community. And that's how I think the problem started. Because if you talk to a general person or a general citizen, there is no problem. You can talk to anyone, any religion at any point of time. But when those politics happen, everything changes.
Even actually, I just want to share like our subcontinent, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, we actually paid a lot only for these religious issues. And this is not even actually, I want to say that this kind of perception actually you cannot learn from education institutions. You have to be very much open minded. We have to very much open minded. And when I can understand from my childhood, let's say I have my Hindu friends, I have my Christian friend, I have my even Buddhas and the Muslims, so I try to visit their religion like activities. Even in Malaysia you can find that different cultural whole year there are Muslim, they have their Eid, Christian, they have programs. Everyone has even many programs they have. So this is actually one of the beautiful things how we can actually we have to respect each other. I'm not 100% correct, so I have to learn every time. So I think this is one of the major factors that our subcontinent actually missing. So spirituality, this is very important, and definitely we have to develop ourselves in that way, that half cup empty, half cup full. So always we have to be positive and we have to learn, then we can respect each other.
I have a
And
couple of
I think
questions.
Beautiful.
One is to Coach Kumar. If I can only think of 4 good things about me, will I get an F?
yeah.
No, just if you don't spell it right.
And I have to spell it correctly. Okay. And
All spellings are accepted.
pardon me. I'm sorry.
I said all spelling, all grammar, everything is accepted.
Oh, I like this test. And Sharif, how is the rains in Bangladesh impacting people that you know, and how are they recovering? How are things going on there?
No, like you are talking about the religious point of view from Bangladesh side.
No, no, no. The rains.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. At present situations, actually, Bangladesh facing a trouble. I think India also, right? I don't know, because of heavy flood and this kind of thing. Even China, I think from China, even India, Bangladesh, this kind of countries actually after this COVID situation, they're facing this flood and this effect and these things. And I think it will be very, it has very bad economical impact because for COVID-19, many people actually suffer. After that, they are facing this flood. This is also a problem. And one thing, this is actually different issues. I just want to add. Let's say I saw in Bangladesh for the area where they're developing Podda Bridge. It's one of the mega projects. Actually, my area, I'm from Rajbari, so that area actually related to this area. But from the beginning, even in I attend different debate, national debate and national intellectual discussions, and I said that every country needs some sort of very good think tank or intellectual group of people who understand this kind of mega project technology.
Yeah.
But what's going on right now, like this Podda area, many actually villages affected, and already it goes down underwater. Many people become homeless, and it's actually alarming. We are developing science and technology moving, but country like Bangladesh, they have to take care of themselves properly, even when they do this kind of mega projects and other things. uh, Next few months, I want to say for Bangladesh will be very, very challenging. Even many times I try, even different policy debate, I try to say these things. Now many policymakers, they are coming. They are said, yes, you are right. You said these things. I said that when we do any mega projects, we have to understand what's going on this technology. So next 3 4 months definitely very challenging for Bangladesh.
So, Sharif, I wanted to ask one thing. I mean, when you talk about religions and all those things, so I'm talking in terms of Bangladesh specifically. In Bangladesh, Bangla is more important, or Urdu is more important, and how language plays a role in religion?
Okay, this is very good questions. Actually, Bangladeshi people, they love to utilize Bangla, but officially Bangladeshi peoples heavily use English. Heavily use in corporate government officials. Let's say even from our Prime Minister office, she already introduced that all of the like district official purpose, they have to use English. So this is good things. And actually there's for in 1952, you know that Bangladeshi people, they're fighting for their language, because that time Pakistan actually tried to impose Urdu language as our national language, but Bangladeshi people deny and they start to communicate in Bangla. And the most important thing is that still I want to say that India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, they have their own culture, and this is very, very, very important. Let's say we have Robindranath, right? Robindranath was a really, really good poet, and she has many resourceful novels and write-ups and many interesting things. So yes, every culture is important, but one thing is still I believe that we have to improve a lot the religious point of view. Because still I think we have to respect each other. We have to grow in that way, that I am not always correct. I have to learn from people. Actually, we are paying a lot only because of this religious. I'm Muslim, I'm based. He is Hindu, he is bad. This is not the right thing. The right thing that we are human. This area, from our education, from our root level, from our much people, they have to learn more. And even yes, I think Indian culture has very good impact on these things. Even for through social media and many things, we have very good cultural relationship with India. But still, I think that South Asia, we have to be more collaborative. We have to be very good friendly. We need to be more understandable, and definitely we have to learn from first world. I want to say that in Asia Pacific, Malaysia is a very good example. They learn from first world and they develop themselves. So subcontinent, let India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, if they grow in that way, I think it will be very strategically very good initiative.
Well,
That would
Ankit, I
be
must.
we can discuss in detail in our next show with we are starting a new show with Sharif. We are still working on the format and time, so maybe we can discuss more about South Asia and other things on that show. And would like to welcome Lynn Shepherd to talk about Dollar Store.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, welcome on Spiritual Saturday, where we kind of recharged our batteries
I
today.
wish I could have heard more, believe me.
You know, one of the things I really learned is just really a means of learning how to forgive yourself a little bit, give yourself some space, listening to everyone kind of talk about, little things that they're kind of going through. If we share a little bit throughout each week, we each kind of share something. But how we all realize we all have problems, we all make mistakes, but how do we rise above it, and how do we help others, right? So it's
So
good.
each night, when I go to bed, I think tomorrow I'm not going to bash on Jim. I really have to forgive myself for doing it. Then I get up in the
Compassion
morning
to yourself.
and I just can't help myself when I see Jim. So
That's rare.
You know,
It's
I
too
love-
easy to target. Yeah, it's not your fault. I'm just too easy to target.
Two brothers here. So, but one of the things I want to share with you is Willie's shirt. Willie, share your
Yeah,
shirt with
I
everybody.
see it. Go keep calm.
And let Willie handle it.
I love it.
I
Yeah.
know,
So should we talk quickly about the dollar store?
Absolutely.
because we can't be doing this without people like you, Lynn.
Well,
That's right.
I appreciate that. So first of all, our family owns family.dollarstore.com, which is an online dollar store. We deliver right to your home. We deliver for free if you order over $25. We have all sorts of stuff on the website, on our store, over 4,300 items now. It's becoming more challenging for Mark Lee because I think he ran out of steam when he got to number 4,119. But anyway, who knows? Fact is that we're here because we support Money Masters PBS, which is the owner of IBM TV. You can see that they have put a big round button. It is green for those of you who are not colorblind. It's big and round so that if you are, you can push the button and go shop on the store. We only deliver in the United States, but I did notice that Coach Kumar and Willie and I think Sharif have all become customers now. So by becoming customers, and of course Ankit and Jim and Kimberly are all customers. For those of you who are outside of the United States, you know people here in the United States. Pretty much everybody does. So just send your tokens, your gift tokens to the people in the United States and get them to start shopping online. Only one restriction: you can't send them to Jim. Other than that, you can send them to anybody you know. I know that Ankit has a sister that lives about 20 miles away from me. He has a brother that lives in Maryland, which is probably only about 90 to 100 miles away from me, if it's down in the Baltimore area. So they're close, but he's not. Ankit is half a world away from me, and yet in seconds he can send them gift tokens, even though he and I are brothers from other mothers because we share the same birthday.
Yeah.
But we have great things on the site. Here's the thing. We want you to shop on at the site because we are sharing all of our profits, giving all of our profits through the end of September to Money Masters PBS. So we encourage you to get other people to become customers. Okay, have them shop online. And remember what the mission for Money Masters is. The mission is to cut the gap between poverty and financial sustainability by providing education, and financial fitness. So if you stay home and you shop at home, what do? First of all, you save money because Kimberly can show you some products there that are a lot less expensive than what you would pay if you go over counter. If you don't want to buy a lot of CBD products for a whole month's supply, you can try them because we have a bunch, and a bunch of new ones, by the way, that you can take a look at and just buy one packet, one bottle, one spray bottle. We have these new things. We also have an old one, which Jim was just showing you, which is, and you can see his better than mine, but they're patches. And, we don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm not going to get into Jim's chess playing with Sasha and why he needs to wear the patches to reduce the pain. But look, because this is about financial education and financial fitness, you don't have to leave your house. When you don't leave your house, you don't drive, you don't use gas. Time is money, so you have time to do other things. You don't get, you don't have to go out with other people and chance getting COVID. So Jim, look at Jim. He has some of the masks that we have, which are fantastic because we have boxes of masks, as Jim is showing, okay, $25 for a box of 50. But if you use the $5 of gift tokens that you get immediately when you sign up, Jim has a memory problem, so he can't remember from day to day. He has to recompute every day because it's now only going to cost you $20 to get 50 masks. And instead of those costing you 50 cents a mask, they're going to cost you, what is it, Jim?
How many? 50.
50. Okay, Willie, we might have to turn to you. But anyway, it's 50 masks, Jim, for $20. While you're figuring it out, everybody
40 cents. 40 cents.
40 cents. There you go. Everybody needs to join the club. No matter where you are, you need to order your Minion napkins.
I'm going to have to send some to Willie and Ankit and Sheree.
Right. We
I'll
can
have to just ship out a package of these to everybody, but don't they make you happy? That's what we need during this time, are little things that make you laugh, right? During this pandemic. But to me, this is the best way to shop, not just because you're saving money and it ships for free. You can, which I can find $25 worth of stuff to buy. They got great cosmetic stuff. One of the products that you sell, I pay $25 for over the counter. You've got it listed for $2. So, I'd be kind of crazy not to do that. But
No.
yeah, it's a better way to save time, save money. All of these things are all about how you manage your money, your financial fitness. Which is very important, and also just not being in an area where you could become contaminated right now. And again, we all say, oh, you can or you can't. It's better to be safe than sorry right now until they learn how to better treat it, right? We're learning every day how to treat it. And the best thing to do is to avoid it as much as possible until they have better treatments and they have it under control. But yeah, this is a great way to shop when it comes to my home. It doesn't go to Lynn's home. He has to go to the post office. But
Poor Lynn.
Yeah. Well,
I do want to add to that before you go any further. Do y'all have any COVID cases in your town, Lynn?
I haven't heard of one.
So
Because
there's got to be something to that. To me,
Well,
there's some
We're only
correlation.
2 families that live in the community, so that's no, I'm kidding. But it is a relatively small community. But even in the surrounding areas around us, we're very fortunate because I think, as opposed to a lot of Americans who seem to think that this is a big joke and it doesn't apply to them, the people that live in the communities around where I live, we all take this seriously. Very seriously. And I heard another reason yesterday why I personally should take this even more seriously. I think I've heard this before, but it's sort of, you get to my age and forget things. Yeah, I know, Jim, we're in the same boat. But the fact of the matter is, if you have a certain blood type, you're more at risk with that certain blood type than you are if you have another blood type. So if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to give misinformation, but I think it's either O positive or negative. People with that blood type are pretty well off, but I happen to have a rare blood type. I'm A negative. So I'm concerned. I haven't heard whether that's one of the blood types that is at risk or not. But certainly at my age, I'm also at risk. And because I can't remember from day to day whether I should bash Jim or not, that probably puts me at more risk also. So I need to touch base with Willie because I need to keep calm. I absolutely need to keep calm.
Let Willie handle it.
I'm going to let Willie handle it for me. I only see Sharif's eyes. Oh, there he is. There's
There we go.
yeah. So I have to say, I love all you guys. I love being involved with the show. I love being able to support the mission. And I really, really, really want people to do their part and help themselves, but help Money Masters PBS because that helps us helps IBM TV have shows like this. So, and to listen to people, I loved listening to what Sharif was talking about Bangladesh. You know, I don't know much about I know where it is because I love maps. So I know that.
I know where it is.
Yeah, that's where it is. But you know, I love to learn about things, and that's one of the great things we learned here, which also helps us with the mission of financial education and financial fitness, because we talk about monetary things as they relate to other countries, and then we can apply them to ourselves and to things that are happening here in the United States. So anyway, I know we're at the end point because Zach's coming on with his show.
We're going to have to wrap up, and I think you win for your big heart and wanting to help.
From poverty to sustainability. What a great mission.
To build that bridge or close that gap is something that nobody really puts a lot of effort into. They talk about it, but we're really trying to do that with some great and wonderful shows every day. Sharif is going to be starting a talk show early in the morning, I think it is.
Oh, great.
That is going to add to me a little more inspiration for financial fitness. We're adding another business day show, which I'm hoping that Shaq will be joining us. It's going to be our Money Masters version on Wednesday mornings. So to probably follow Sharif's show. So Sharif can stay on and we will, you know, you'll see a lot of bleed in from all of our, I hate that word, but
yeah,
you're going to see a lot of carryover and connectivity of all of our family and shows. But we're going to do a Money Masters because our Economic Mondays became overflown. And so we decided to say, you know what, let's kind of isolate a little bit more on Economic Mondays and let it be more professors and students and that kind of knowledge base. And then we're going to have professionals, the Money Masters, on Wednesday. So this is going to be the same type of conversation, same type of energy and financial fitness. But because we just had so many people excited to be part of Economic Monday learning, but all of these are learning. They're coffee shop talks from the real people. Okay, real people sharing their real experiences. And I always say, you know, education is valuable, right? Experience is very expensive. I'm going to tell you. I'm one to know this.
Amen.
Amen.
But other people's experiences are priceless. And that's what we're here to do with IBM TV. We also want your input from the viewers to text in, ask us your questions. These guys, they're worth millions and billions of dollars, and they're coming on our show. Ask them questions. There's a text box right there. It's all yours. And, you know, when do you get this opportunity? I mean, I go watch millionaires and billionaires speak. The only time I get the opportunity to ask them a question is if they come on our show. But I'll go to stages and I don't get to raise my hand. But at IBM TV, we're going to let you raise that hand. You can raise that hand. You can ask. And that's what we want to do. We want to eliminate the fear, right? Facts, not fear. That's what we've done with COVID. We want people to go out there and think for themselves and learn for themselves and find spiritual happiness as well. So I know we need to wrap. Ankit, you want to talk more about the shows coming up?
To add on Kim's talk, if someone doesn't know English, I mean, we are ready to accept shows in different languages at different time zones.
Exactly.
So don't worry about your language. Don't worry about your spellings. Just be confident and be a part of IBM family. And we are looking for more experts around the world on IBM TV. So if anyone is interested to be a part of IBM TV at any time zone, doesn't matter, or at any language, we are ready to accept it. So do join us and email us at golive@IBM TV. And we are turning a lot of our producers into directors now. So maybe we'll have a training session for a lot of our prospective directors. So I hope the people understand what I'm talking about. And it's time to wrap up.
Graded?
Thank you for joining us on Spiritual Saturday, and do join us on Funk from the Front Seat live on IBM TV, which started at 12 noon EST. The show is live right now, followed by a Plant a Good Seed by Taste Oakley. And then we have Amazing Chess Stars with Sasha Star at 3 p.m., followed by Saturday Night DJ with Dr. Arthur. So that's the lineup for the day. I'll just play the lineup and then we can wrap up the show with our ambassador's message.
अपनी खांसी के भाई ऐसे करेंगे अच्छू अच्छू और कोरोना वायरस को धन्यवाद हमारा म्यूजिक सुनने का.
And thank you for joining us. And that's a wrap for the day. Do join us tomorrow on our Super Sunday with amazing shows lining up. Thank you. And it's time to wrap up. Take care. Have a good day. See you soon.